Rick Dempsey, 1967 graduate of Crespi High School. Also was fortunate enough to be 1983 World Series MVP, and I played for the Dodgers in 1988 when we won the championship there here in Los Angeles. I just want to let you know I am a Crespi graduate, and I'm also a Crespi man.
Rick Dempsey, on behalf of Crespi High School, I'd like to welcome you to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations for all your success in LA sports and at Crespi High School.
Thank you very much. I certainly appreciate that, and I'm very proud of the fact that that I did go to Crespi High School, and we had some great years here, and I've got a lot of people to thank for a lot of things that's happened to me during the course of my life, and especially in professional sports, because this is where it all began. You know, for me here, I had some unbelievably great coaches. You know, Bill Leeds, God rest his soul, passed away, was probably the biggest influence on me, and John Becker, who went on to professional sports himself as a coach with the Rams. And those two guys had more of an influence on me than anybody, and some great days, some great memories of all the times. And Father Albert Kopis, who was our principal at that time, you know. I'll never forget him because he was the one who would pull my ear and give me that belt once in a while to kind of keep me in line. But you know, all the discipline has certainly paid off over the years, and I certainly appreciate this, and I am very proud of it, and I hope to come back and see some more good times at Crespi before it's over with.
Hi there, we're here with Crespi graduate Rick Dempsey, class of 1967, and recent inductee to the Crespi Hall of Fame. Let me congratulate you on that, sir.
Thank you, Paul.
And I was wondering if I could just start with a little interview today, because we are now in a World Series game that has a long rain delay, and since I know you were a very great person when you played Major League Baseball in your rain delay theater, I think you'd finish a trilogy at this point with the way the game's going. So, some of your thoughts on your favorite rain delay theater moments that you had?
I don't know. There was one time during a rain delay, I think in 1976, when I was traded over to the Baltimore Orioles. We were tied with the Boston Red Sox on the second to last day of the season. And we went to the last day, and then we had a big rain delay before the game, and that's when I did this pantomime of Babe Ruth hitting a home run. And I got all the people singing. I was blowing baseball over the grandstand, because at that time, since the New York Yankees had won the division, and so it was just a playoff for second place with the Boston Red Sox, so we really didn't have anything. You know, second place is only the first loser. That's all it is.
Right.
Really, but, I did the pantomime of Babe Ruth running around the tarp, and that seems like the thing that people most remember me for after 24 years in the major leagues. They forget once in a while I did get a hit.
Well, that's true, and many that you did have. Could you, since we are talking about the Phillies being the World Series now, could you tell me what your feelings were like becoming the World Series MVP in 1983?
Well, it was kind of funny because, you know, I really wasn't even thinking about being a World Series MVP. All we really wanted to do was vindicate ourselves from 1979 when we played against the Pittsburgh Pirates. We won 3 of the first 4 ball games and then lost the last 3 games. And the 7th game was a heartbreaker because there was so many plays in that game where it just a matter of inches and everything went against us at that time. We let Pittsburgh come back and beat us in 79. So it was at about 83. We had that opportunity again. We were up 3-1 against the Phillies, and there wasn't a sound in the clubhouse that day. I remember as we came in, because everybody was remembering what happened to us in 79 when we lost control and gave it back to the Pirates. But we finished it out in 1983 and beat the Phillies 4-1. And really, it wasn't that I had such an outstanding World Series. It's just that nobody else. It really wasn't a big offensive series. I know I didn't have a single. I was all doubles and home runs. So, but I did set 2 records in that World Series for the most extra base hits in a 5-game series, and the fact that I was also the only person ever voted most valuable player of a World Series that not only got pinch hit for once but twice, and still managed to get the MVP. So. I played with a great ball club, and it really was a combined effort by every single player on that. But anybody could have won
the MVP. I just got lucky because the catcher and the pitcher are usually the two focal points of any series, a short series like that. And I had a great pitching staff to work with, and I was very lucky. Scotty McGregor, who pitched 2 outstanding ball games, he lost the first one 2-1 and then won the last one 5-0. He could have easily gotten it also.
That's an amazing story with that. When you came to LA as a player, did you maintain a rivalry with the Phillies at all down the line?
No, not really. You know, it wasn't about a rivalry with the National League team at all. And I came here, it was late in my career, and I wanted an opportunity to play with the Dodgers in 1988 because I knew I could still play. I was in pretty good condition. I had had an elbow operation, which was the only operation I'd ever had during my career. They took some bone chips out. It took me a year to recover from that, but during that time, I got released for the first time also by the Cleveland Indians. So I asked Fred Clare with the Los Angeles Dodgers, who was the general manager, if he'd just give me an opportunity to be invited to spring training, I would make the ball club. I told him I'd hit a home run every 24 at-bats. I'd drive in a run every 5 at-bats. I would change his pitching staff that was a last place team, 5th place team, to a divisional championship. I'd catch the last game of the World Series and I'd give him the ball. Of course, I had my fingers crossed behind my back at the time. But you know what? God was listening because every single one of those came true.
It's very true, especially with that year being, a lot of people forget that, you know, it was a Game 1 shot by Kirk Gibson. And
oh, unbelievable. One of the greatest moments in sports, Paul. You're right. I mean, Kurt, that was the only at-bat that he got the entire World Series. He hobbled up there. He had a torn hamstring, and there was some infection in there. And he was on his way to having an operation at the end of the year to get it all cleaned up. But he came in there and gave us one great at-bat. We all knew Dennis Eckersley loved to throw the slider on the outside corner to left-hand hitters in a 3-2 count. That's how deep the scouting reports went. And we're all looking for it, and so was Kurt. He couldn't get around on a good fastball, but a slider, you know, is a little bit slower, and he got out on that. He hits the home run, and that's a come-from-behind victory that really gave us enough momentum to beat the Oakland A's, and that was like the David and Goliath of sports at that time.
It's very true. That's very true. So how did that make you feel, like coming to Crespi, being an LA guy, just getting that miracle chance to be on that team? I mean, how did that help you wind up your career there?
I had spent my entire career on the East Coast. I started with Minnesota 5 years, got traded to the New York Yankees for 4 years, got traded to the Baltimore Orioles for 11 years, then started 1 year with Cleveland. Then I finally got a chance to come back to the West Coast and see what, you know, that was fun baseball. Right. You know, to be back out here where I had all my friends, and I saw a lot of my Crespi teammates and guys that I went to school with who were always showing up at the ballpark. Tom Jackals was there. Mike Kearns followed me around forever. You know, Tom Clement, another very close friend of mine, always kept real close tabs on me. And there was so many people that really had Father Albert. You know, he kind of, you know, kept an eye on us from a distance too. And I saw him once in a while, and it was a great thing. It was a lot of fun because, you know, I wasn't an everyday player. I was with Mike Scioscia, and we kind of platooned. Mike played a little bit more than I did. But it was really a lot of fun because we had one of those kind of teams, a bunch of platoon players, like Mickey Hatcher and guys like that, and Franklin Stubbs. And we didn't play every single day, but we knew how to play the game. We had a lot of experience, and when we got our opportunities to play, we took advantage of it. We had an unbelievable year. We never lost 3 games in a row. The most we ever lost in a row was 2 games all season long. And you know, it was one of those years. Oral Hershiser's 59 consecutive scoreless innings, 6 shutouts in a row. Mike caught 3 of those games. I caught 3 of those games. He was on a roll like no pitcher I have ever caught. I caught 16 Cy Young Award winners through the course of my career. And Oral Hershiser had the best year of all of them. And I caught some of the greats, Jim Catfish Hunter and Jim Palmer and Mike Flanagan, Steve Stone. All of these guys were fantastic pitchers, but nobody ever had a year like Oral Hershiser had that year, and it was fun to bring it back out here to LA and be with my friends. So I ended up with 9 years with the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was outstanding. Playing for Tommy Lasorda was so much fun. He's a fantastic guy down on the field. You know, he was a lot of fun to play for, a lot different than Earl Weaver, who was a very, very tough guy to play for. So, but still the best manager I ever played for.